Okay, at this stage you'll have Zoom downloaded onto your laptop and you will have set up an account and you're ready to get into action. So we're going to look at the basic steps of the settings that I use as a tutor for recurring meetings on Zoom. One of the first things I do in the settings is I go over to the cog wheel here on the right hand side of the screen and it says settings. Click on the cog. It opens up a little window. I'm going to drag it over so you can see it. There's all my settings. Here, don't be too undated or worried about what you see here. It's quite easy to work your way around. General settings I've just set up here. Start Zoom when I start Windows. You can do it silently. Yeah, I like the silent one. Use dual monitors if you use two monitors on a PC at home. Most people use a laptop, so one monitor is good. Everything else is left the same. In my video settings, I have my camera. So if you had more than one camera, you can change. Basically, this one has the camera. It's a USB camera plugged into my laptop, and it can be moved around, which is fantastic. I tilt it up, tilt it down. Most people will have a built-in camera on their device on the laptop. If you're on a PC at home, you probably have a webcam that you can adjust as well. I enable HD because I'm very happy with the quality because my camera is HD and basically everything else is the same. I don't touch anything. Now I go into my audio device and I make sure my audio is working. You can see that it's working. When you speak, you'll see a little blue bar moving up and down. If not, you can actually adjust and find the microphone from the drop-down menu and keep going through until you find your mic and make sure your mic is working. That's if your system has a mic. Most laptops have a built-in mic, so it should work fine for you. You can test your microphone by just clicking on this icon and it starts recording for a few seconds, testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that just gives me an indication that my microphone is good and loud and everybody will hear me, no problem whatsoever. You can click on the space key down here if you want to mute yourself during a meeting. It's often a good shortcut to have. Moving on, share screens. Basically, enter full screen when participants share screen, so you'll see the full display. And you can scale to fit your Zoom window if you like, and have side-by-side views on side-by-side mode. Chat allows people to have a chat. You can block people from chat if you don't want them chatting. You can push notifications, etc. There's a lot of different things here. I haven't really adjusted that because I didn't think I needed to. Another interesting one is the virtual background. A lot of people like this and that. You can change your background to anything at all. So I can basically put in a logo background, Disability Films. I can have a Love Navan logo in the background. I basically can put in what I want. I have just a picture of a generic office that I use, and it's quite easy to look at. You can put a clear background or you can put in one color in the background, whatever you want to really put in there as well, or you can leave as so. Recording basically allows you to put the videos in a place that you can find them very easily. So basically I've just left it in my documents for Zoom. You could set up a folder on your desktop if you want, just to put in all your recordings. Very handy to find at a later stage. Record during screen share. Yes, I like that. Place video next to the shared screen in the recording. Make sure you have a copy of everything so you can play back. Your profile just shows who you are. So I basically, my name, my email address, etc., etc., and that comes up. If you want to upgrade it or change it or edit it, you can. Everything else I usually leave the same. It's all good. Okay, next thing we're going to do is schedule a meeting. So you click on schedule and we're going to adjust the settings in here to suit our meetings. I'm going to change the name of the meeting to my group, which is Film Studies. That means that the group know that they're entering the Film Studies meeting and it's online. It's starting today, and duration I basically am going to say it's 45 minutes. Don't worry about this because we're on a free package, so we will switch off after 40 minutes. I'm going to click reoccurring, and basically the next thing I'm going to do is click personal meeting ID. So it's constantly using my personal meeting. You have been assigned a password for your meetings, on all your meetings, so Just take note of your digits and your personal ID for your own reference. My video is switched off when we start a meeting. Participants' video is switched on. That's because I want to see who's entering my meeting and I can see their faces. Their cameras will be switched on. I want to use my audio from my computer and my phone. And I want to use Google Calendar or Outlook Calendar. So you can use whichever you want. Advanced options, I click on the little arrow beside this. I enable a waiting room. This allows me to see who's entering a meeting and I can admit them or not admit them. I enable people to join the waiting room before I get there. So they can be waiting in the background before you start your meeting. And I mute their microphones on entry. This means that I have control of sound and nobody who has distracting sound in the background can interfere with what we're doing in our meeting. Then I click schedule my meeting and it's scheduled to my calendars. So the next thing I need to do is start my meeting. So I click on new meeting. This opens up my application to speak and see my group. So it's a new window and basically my camera and my microphone are switched off. I can leave them off as long as I want. I can basically invite people to my meetings. So if I click on invite, another little window opens up and I'll drag it over to show you what it looks like. It's basically, you can bring in contacts if you have contacts at your computer, or you can copy the invitation and email that to people that's going to be in your group. You can send it by Messenger also, and you can also send it by WhatsApp, depending on how you contact your group. So I've sent my message to one of my groups and I want them to enter the meeting. So what I do is basically I click my next icon, which is manage participants. And this will give me an idea of who's coming into my meetings. So I have sent a link to one of my other devices, my other accounts, and I'm going to open that up now as we speak and join this meeting, and you will see, yes, there we go. Disability Films is waiting in the background. So you basically can click on that person and admit to the meeting. So I'm going to click admit. Now I'm going to enable on my other device my camera so I can see my camera device. It's basically working here for me. So I'm going to just pop it up here so you can see it's a different angle of this presentation. So I'm tuned in as Disability Films on my phone, and a lot of your groups will check in by iPads, iPhones or laptops. So it can work in every domain. There's no problem with it. You'll notice on the screen here, I have them muted. That means that their audio is not going to interfere with our presentation. And also I have my camera still switched off and I have my microphone switched off. And when I have everybody in my meeting, then I will switch my camera on. So I turn on my camera and I turn on my microphone, and now I can address everybody in the meeting and welcome to the meeting and the presentation of what's happening today and discuss what we were going to do. Another lovely feature of this is we can share our screens. So I, as a tutor, can share my screen with the group. So if I had 5 in a group, 20 in a group, I basically click on the share screen button, which is at the bottom. It's the little green button here. And what that does is allows me pick what I want to show off to people. And I'm looking for a PowerPoint presentation, which I have open already. I double click on my PowerPoint presentation. Now that's been shared with my class. And I basically can start my PowerPoint presentation from the beginning. And it will click in, hopefully. Going to view, start from the beginning. Here we go. Took a little bit of time, but now I can scroll through my images step by step and do a narration right over my pictures and my documentations and my presentation. So once you're finished your presentation, you click on the stop screen, which is at the little red button on the top of your screen here, and you can stop. Now, share screen is very, very useful in that not only can you share PowerPoint presentations, you can share video files, etc., etc. You can basically share audio, whatever you really want. I'm looking to share a video file. So here is my video file, which is in films and TVs on this window. I double click on this to share, and I basically can play my video, which will go through to my full class. Now, you can use audio in it or not by just adjusting your sound. I'm going to pause this here, and if I'm happy to go back to my group, I click just stop sharing. Another very important feature on your share screen facility is your whiteboard, which is just here on your sharing screen interface. Click on your whiteboard and it basically opens up a whiteboard. Now this is one I have done earlier, but you can clear your background and you can add text. You can click on text and ask people for ideas for Irish movies. And add all the suggestions on screen in your text box. You can move it around. You can use a drawing facility to highlight if you're discussing, say, an Irish film, who was in this film, who was the leading actors, who directed the movie, etc., etc. What style was it shot in? What genre was it? Etc., etc. So this will apply to your own class, whether it's a list of ingredients for cooking, baking, art, hair, doing anything. You can have a list put up there for your class. And another feature, you can save all these to a folder when you record your movies. I'm going to stop my screen and go back to my main interface again, where I interact with my class. We didn't speak about recording our class, but it is a very important feature within Zoom. You can click on your record icon, which is just here, and it will record your entire presentation and call. That it can be referred back to by a group, or you could upload it to a private link on YouTube. First thing you need to do is, before you record your class, is get consent and make people aware that they are being recorded for your presentation. It would do no harm to have a verbal consent or a release form, or within the email terms and conditions that they're going to be in your group, that the classes are going to be recorded. That the classes are going to be recorded for evaluation purposes only. So I hope you get your way around Zoom. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to end your meeting. So you basically just click on your end meeting setting and you click end meeting for all.